Hello and welcome to week 13. We are in the home stretch of this class, you guys, so keep up the good work and we will be getting to drafting our research papers very soon. So this week we're going to continue to focus on your research project, but this week we're going to learn about how to structure your paper. You only have one chapter to read in the Bedford Researcher, and that's chapter 13. And you only need to create a research paper outline and do a journal entry this week. So the first thing you need to think about is organizing your paper. You want to figure out what order you'd like to present your information in, because it makes a very big difference. If you look at the list on pages 218 to 220, there's a wonderful list of all the different types of organizational patterns that exist. And if you look through these might help you figure out which kind structure will work best for the purpose of your paper. And it will be the best way for you to structure your argument. Because if you think about it, there's if you're presenting something, how you present that information can change how the reader reacts to what you're saying. So, for example, if you were trying to get a raise at your company where you worked, and your boss was someone who liked a lot of facts and figures, you wouldn't just write a short email and say, "Hey, I need to get a raise. Give me a raise," right? Because the likelihood is you're not going to get that raise. But if you send an email where you talked first an introduction about how much you like to work at this company, how long you've been working at this company, and maybe outline 3 reasons why you should get a raise, like a thesis statement, and then spent paragraph after paragraph documenting how you've done these things so well and with evidence to support it. By the time the boss gets to the end of the paper, of your email, you make it so you give so much evidence that it's hard for him to say no, right? So there's ways to, depending on what you're trying to do, if you're trying to convince someone of something, if you're trying to, especially people that have bias already, you really need to know your purpose in your paper in order to choose a pattern, and also who your audience is. That'll really help you. You also want to, at this point, really keep track of the evidence. Those are the quotations and facts that you've been gathering from your sources. You want to be able to have a good system for keeping track of it. A lot of people like to print out the articles and highlight, quotations that they think are effective and take notes. Some people keep a Word document on their computer and then type in the entries that they feel like are going to be the best evidence. You really want to make sure you go through your sources and find all of the compelling evidence that's kind of come out to you. So the first journal entry you're going to do is going to involve 2 steps. Clustering can help you explore the relationships among your thesis statement, your reasons, and your evidence. And reasons are also, sometimes I call them subtopics. These are the things you're going to be arguing in order to prove your thesis. So one of the things we're going to do this week is you're going to create a cluster, then you're going to write a journal about that process. You can also, if you want to, submit a picture of your cluster. If you an easy way to do that is to just, if you have an iPhone or a phone with a phone with a photograph in it, a camera in it, you can just use that and take a picture and then email it to yourself and post it as part of your journal prompt as a graphic. But it's not required, because I know that's pretty complicated. So don't worry about it. I want the focus to not be on that, but to be on making this cluster and learning something from it. So the first thing you're going to do is, in the middle of a piece of paper, I want you to write your thesis statement down. And this should be your really strong, focused thesis statement that you have now. Then I want you to place your reasons, these are the future subtopics, all around your thesis statement. And there can be more than what you think you're going to be using in your paper. Just, it's better to have too many than not enough. Then list the evidence that you'll use to support each reason. Just start, making little lines off of, each of the reasons, and put evidence and try to write it out, and really, you don't have to put the full quote, but put the piece of information so you really know what it is and maybe where the source it's from, the source that it's from. Then I want you to think about the relationships among your main point, the reasons and the evidence, and I want you to draw circles and lines to show those relationships. I want you to annotate your cluster to indicate the nature of the relationships. How is that subtopic related to your thesis? How do the subtopics speak to one another? Okay? Once you complete this task, I'd like you to write about your experience doing this and what you've learned about your topic and what you've learned about your topic and what you've learned about the different subtopics that you've chosen and your evidence from doing this exercise. Okay? The next thing I want to talk about is your assignment for this week, and that's going to be creating a formal outline. This is going to be due on May 5th, so that's next Sunday. An outline represents the sequence in which your reasons and evidence will appear in your paper. As you develop an outline, you make decisions about what order is the most effective way to present your reasons and evidence. Later, when you draft your paper, you can use your outline as a plan for writing your paper. Create an outline where you list your thesis statement at the top of the page. And if you need an example, there's two great examples on page 228 of the Bedford Researcher. Beneath your thesis statement, I want you to begin to list the subtopics that you'll be writing about in each section of your paper. And then under those, I want you to put the evidence and the details of information you're going to use to support those subtopics. Then, after you complete your outline, I want you to answer the following questions. Does my outline provide an effective organization for my document? Have I covered all of my key points? Have I addressed my key points in sufficient detail? Do any sections seem out of order? And here I have a sample outline, and like I said on page 228, there's a much better version, but this kind of gives you an overview of what a formal outline looks like. Your subtopics and points do not have to be in full sentences. They can just be fragments. It's fine. The point is that you get everything organized in the order that you want to write your paper, and this will really help you next week as you begin to draft. All right. So that takes us to what's due the following week, and that you're going to be reading chapters 14 and 15 in the Bedford Researcher and drafting your research paper. All right, and I think we've got just 2 more weeks after this one, so we're getting to the end. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I will see you online.